Sam and Jack, and I think Andy as well, alluded to communication and how really we had to adapt and change the ways that we were communicating, not only with our customers, but also with our colleagues, friends, family. And everyone, I guess, had a kind of a different experience with that. It was a little bit different in Victoria to Perth and whatnot, but we all kind of had a taste of it. What would you say was there any real magic moments for you, or any lessons learned with regards to communication, whether it's with clients or colleagues, was there any, not only yourself, but the other panelists, was there a moment where you realized that, being cut off actually taught you how to communicate better?
I think that we all had the training wheels on in terms of Zoom, GoTo, whichever platform you use initially. Now, I know a lot of people were using it beforehand, but we were using con calls and that sort of thing. But to integrate Zoom as a business tool, both for customers and teams, was something new. So it wasn't something you immediately had the etiquette for. So you had those scenarios where everyone's jumping on each other, people are asking questions and waiting for responses from everyone, things like that. So some of that got ironed out. But the thing that worked well for me early in the days of isolation when we first went in was Friday nights, Friday afternoons, we'd have Zoom beers and reach out to a different group of people, different parts of the country. And first of all, it helped get our etiquette together and helped get a bit deeper and more meaningful communication through video. But also some of the people, the professional, the business and personal sort of crossed over. So people were reaching out. So I think that was a good thing, like being able to effectively use these tools in a personal way. It's not the same as face-to-face, but being able to squeeze that real personal experience was something. It wasn't a lightning bolt, but a process that I think a lot of us went through.
I agree with that, Luke. And what I've realised is that, especially when we were acquired by RACV, our integration basically started on April 1. And that was pretty much when we all went into lockdown. So trying to integrate and blend two cultures into one when you're, working out of your garages and lounge rooms couldn't be more challenging. So that was extremely hard for us. But what I also realised is that, I'd only ever done maybe 2 or 3 remote meetings prior to COVID. I've never really used Zoom or Teams or any of those things. And I used to have to, with the RACV being in the city and me living in regional Vic, I'd have to drive 2.5 hours each way to go to a meeting, and now I don't even need to wear pants.
Are you wearing pants now, by the way? Don't answer that.
I can confirm I'm wearing pants.
Okay,
the novelty of not wearing pants was good, but it wore off. So I am wearing pants. But it's about having choices.
True.
So we've, we can get a lot more done now without having to drive between meetings, which is fantastic. We're a much more efficient business than we were 9 months ago.
Are you still using your mobile, Andy, for Zoom?
Yeah, I am. Yep.
Because you just keep doing these ones, just keep seeing one of these fingers, swiping up all those notifications. They must be sales rolling through, are they, mate? It's just another.
I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb, to be honest.
Excellent. How about you, Sam?
Well, I think for me, communication obviously changed quite a few channels, and I felt like we went down this whirlwind of, change and trying to keep up and figuring out the best thing to do. But then I had this phone call, and it was overwhelming, actually. I spoke to a customer of ours who had just signed up for solar, and he told me the reason why he was getting solar was because he had terminal cancer and that he was going to pass away soon, and he wanted to make sure that his wife didn't have to worry about electricity bills. And he was he was lovely. He was such a lovely, lovely person. And I think that we get caught up sometimes in, the disruptions to our businesses and disruptions to our lives. And then he just put it into so much perspective for me that the community and my family and the team and everything is the most important thing, like Zoom or Teams or whatever. But that was a magical moment for me, and it really shifted my focus from business, how am I going to keep the business going, what strategies do I need to implement, and it really reminded me why I'm in solar and why we do what we do. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I think it's important that we keep that sort of stuff in perspective sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. It's easy to get caught up, isn't it? And then, you know, things like that can really pull you out of it pretty quickly. So, how about you, Jack?
Look, we never, I mean, being in Queensland, we were sort of always running, you know, more or less a skeleton crew, and we were rotating teams. So we'd always have, you know, a minimum of like 10 or 12 people in the office at any time, but they would sort of come in once or twice a week. So we never had the same sort of challenges from a communications point of view that you guys did in other states. So yeah, which I think a lot of people were appreciate the opportunity to voluntarily work from home, and we certainly weren't going to rush people back to the premises if they're working perfectly fine at home. But yeah, look, it was from a communications, I guess, point of view, we had to move to using tools like Zoom, and the business had been doing those sorts of things anyway. You know, but although we're based in Queensland, we do serve a national base, so we end up having a lot of Zoom or Teams meetings anyway. So we really didn't have anything that really overhauled how we do that at the moment, honestly. Okay. It was more or less in Queensland. It was largely business as usual while trying to manage the COVID restrictions, workforce restrictions, and you know the real significant issue is that, you know, with a commercial focus, through COVID, we were delivering projects that were contracted in October or November of the prior year. So the weird thing is, it felt like it was busy. So the company was, you know, all the staff were like, "Oh, I'm so busy," but they're not seeing the sales forecast. They're not seeing what's going to happen in 3 months. So I was actually quite transparent with my staff. I would email them every month and say, "This is our break even. This is our operating expenses. This is what sort of our revenue was." And so they could see visibly. So I was like, it might not feel like there's pain now, but the pain is coming. It's just going to be delayed 3 months. Yeah. So we took wage cuts. People took hour cuts, redundancies. We could see what was happening, so we were very, very quick to make those changes. And I was very transparent with staff around what sort of money we were making, what our operating expenses were, so they could see themselves, you know, what was happening. And I think that was having that really open approach with your staff is good, and it certainly was at that point.